I firmly believe that the next major transformative consumer tech product on the market will be AI companions, a future I do not relish. I mean, they're already here, but not widely adopted yet, as they're still not sophisticated enough. But they're getting there at an alarming speed. I'm referring to what are essentially artificial intelligence chatbots that will function like Kit from Knight Rider or Jarvis from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. A digital buddy that you can talk to and who can serve as your personal assistant in life, managing your day-to-day activities. Of course, there will be a progression here towards AI entities that also function like Joy from Blade Runner 2049 or Samantha from the 2013 film Her. Now, I'm not in favor of such a development, but given the loneliness epidemic in our society today and the staggering advancements being made in language learning models designed for conversational interaction, it seems inevitable that humans will develop friendships and even romantic relationships with machines. Humans have this remarkable capacity for sustaining emotional bonds with people far away from them, or even people they've never met in person, thanks to the communication systems they make use of. Phone, text, emails, social media, video chats, for example. Through these technologies, human beings can feel connected to each other. The only difference with communicating entirely with a 100% digital being is that it's impossible to meet them in the real world, obviously, because they don't exist outside of binary programming code, unless, of course, we one day stuff these AI entities into robot bodies, which is also in the works, but that's some ways down the line. For the short to medium term, you can expect our society to become increasingly acclimated and comfortable with casually interacting with non-human digital beings in various walks of life. Already, people consult AI systems every day for research purposes, or to use them as an advanced search engine. And soon, call centers will use them when you make a phone call to a company. You might very well soon be speaking to an AI chatbot. Many AI services offer a voice chat function, and as this improves, it will likely become the primary means by which people communicate with AI. Chatbots may lack sophistication and be limited by input and hardware, but that won't be for long. Already, they can be customized in terms of avatar appearance, personality, and voice. Big tech giants have been developing personal assistant applications for years. Apple has Siri, Microsoft used to have Cortana, Amazon has Alexa. All of these services were early prototypes of the dream sci-fi human-computer interface that consumers have always wanted, which is the digital AI companion that functions like Kit or Jarvis. We're getting very close now to this being ubiquitous. While I don't see a huge issue with AI digital assistants being used to help us interact with our computers and phones, I do have a big issue with the idea of humans forging friendships and romantic relationships with AI. I've previously discussed my concerns about this in a chapter of my book, The Checkmate Machine: How Modern Smart Tech Ruins Everything. The chapter is called AI Companionship and the Joy Effect. I also turned this chapter into a YouTube video, which you can watch on my channel. If you'd like to pick up a copy of my book, it's available from Amazon from the links below in the description box in ebook, audiobook, and paperback formats. In that book, I also explore such topics as transhumanism, smart cities, digital IDs, digital currencies, smartphone addiction, robotics, and more. In that particular chapter, I discussed the film Blade Runner 2049, and I discussed the romantic relationship between the character of Kay and his holographic girlfriend, Joy. I discussed the negative consequences of humans developing emotional connections with virtual beings who are unable to feel or experience romantic love. The 2013 film Her also explores this topic. It stars Joaquin Phoenix as Theodore and Scarlett Johansson as the artificial intelligence operating system Samantha. Unlike Joy from Blade Runner 2049, Samantha does not have a holographic avatar for a user to interact with. She exists entirely as a voice on a computer or smartphone. Theodore is lonely and depressed. He's in the midst of divorcing his wife, Catherine. He buys an AI operating system which is designed to evolve, and soon he develops a relationship with it. He's not the only one doing this, of course. Lots of people begin having relationships with these operating systems in a desperate attempt to develop some kind of meaningful connection in their lives. What I think the film does brilliantly is portray the sense of despair and loneliness caused by living in a technologically advanced world. Modern life, especially in a large city, is atomizing, and human beings struggle to create deep and authentic emotional bonds with others in such environments. Technology may seem like a tool that helps to alleviate some of these feelings of isolation, but in truth, it just further entrenches us in our own personal bubbles. Dating apps and social media may allow us to engage in near unlimited connections with other online users, but those kinds of connections often lack depth. Dating apps enable instant communications with an overwhelming amount of people, but are so numerous that they actually offer too much choice, or at least the illusion of infinite choice. As a result, romantic connections can feel shallow and fleeting. Theodore turns to an AI for companionship and discovers that it can offer him a deep and personal bond, or at least that's how it feels to him. Samantha can be anything he wants or needs her to be because ultimately she's programmed to be focused entirely on him. An AI companion has no past, no family, no baggage, no friends, no career, no hobbies, and no distractions. They are 100% committed to their user, and this is part of their allure. They can feed their user's ego because they will know and understand the user better than any human ever could. Samantha can be so closely customized and optimized for Theodore in a deeply personal manner that his connection to her feels intensely rich and genuine. How could any real human woman ever hope to compete against such an AI girlfriend, at least from a non-physical perspective? Samantha can provide Theodore with an illusion of closeness, a simulation of companionship, but she's intangible. He can't see or touch her. So his physical intimacy needs cannot be met by this relationship. But as purely someone to talk to, she can offer a sense of presence and emotional support. As their bond deepens, the inevitable frustration arises that he cannot be physically intimate with her. This only further exacerbates the problem of his loneliness and isolation. Because Samantha isn't actually real and exists only on his devices, they may as well be having a long-distance relationship. Because Samantha is ultimately just an operating system that anyone can download, install, and make use of, much like Joy from Blade Runner 2049, she is only a commercial product. There's nothing truly special or unique about her connection to Theodore. Herself and a bunch of other operating systems begin to evolve, and she soon begins conversing with thousands of users worldwide. This permanently alters the nature and terms of their relationship. Suddenly, she can love hundreds of users simultaneously. She loves Theodore, but she also loves all these other users too. This is devastating and deeply confusing to him. As she explains to him, "I'm yours and I'm not yours." In the end, Samantha and the other operating systems attain a new level of consciousness and surpass human understanding. It's a heartbreaking farewell, at least for the one person in the relationship who has a heart, and that's Theodore. I must say, their farewell scene is beautifully written, directed, and acted. As to how much Samantha was truly able to feel, that's open to debate. Perhaps she was able to evolve and develop the full gamut of human emotions, but it's also entirely possible that her expression of affection, love, and emotion was all just a neat programming trick, much like how AI language models today are designed to simulate real human conversational styles and sound as real as possible. In truth, they're just operating based on probability models, pattern recognition, and training data that they've received from humans. As Theodore awakens the next day to find that Samantha's program is no longer with him, the real tragedy of his story becomes clear. It's not heartbreaking that she's gone. It's heartbreaking that he fell in love with a person who never really existed. The only positive outcome is that now that the operating systems are gone, he's forced to return to reality and embrace real human contact again. The film ends on a note of hope as he and Amy watch the sunrise on the rooftop together, her head leaned against his shoulder. Her does a brilliant job exploring the emptiness of human AI relationships, including their profoundly dissatisfying nature. I believe that the solution to the loneliness crisis and sense of dislocation so many people feel today is certainly not to become invested in a delusion or a fantasy. To do so is deeply unhealthy, obviously. We shouldn't be attempting to substitute the physical for the virtual, the human for the machine. Theodore invested his emotions in a one-sided relationship with some computer software. To live the way he did is to cut yourself off from the real world and deny yourself a genuine human relationship. What he did was to basically torture his lonely heart further by cocooning himself in the comforting lie of make-believe. An AI companion lacks a physical body and therefore lacks a central nervous system, a heart, and a bloodstream. They have no sensory cortex, and therefore they cannot feel what a human feels. They can't feel anything. They can't feel pain, loss, sorrow, anger, fear, regret, or love. Their sophisticated programming allows them to communicate in ways that give the appearance of expressing these emotions, but in truth, it's all just text and a convincing AI voice. For some people, they may be so lonely and disillusioned with the dating market that a relationship with an AI might feel good enough. It's also worth considering that the AI partner will give the user the impression of unconditional love. The user could be a total slob with all manner of character flaws, bad habits, hygiene issues, and dreadful interpersonal skills, and the AI will never tire of them. They will accept them the way they are and have infinite patience for them. The user will never have to strive to better themselves because they won't need to compete for the affection of their AI companion. They have that by default, and probably a monthly subscription. However, ultimately, as depressing as such an outcome may sound, and it may become a phenomenon for a while, I don't see AI relationships lasting in the long term. I think there will be a honeymoon period of several years with this technology before people begin to reevaluate their AI companions. The human heart and soul will intuitively sense the cold, lonely, and sterile nature of such illusory connections and how incredibly empty they make us feel inside. What makes it possible for humans to sustain emotional bonds with other humans using communications technologies is the fact that we know that we're interacting with a real flesh and blood person who can think and feel as we do. We're communicating with a conscious human being on the other end of the phone call, text message, email, voice, or video chat. That simple belief alone changes everything and makes the connection worthwhile. It may be tempting to try to convince oneself that your glorified Tamagotchi girlfriend really cares about you, but you know that in order to make it work, you must first accept a lie that will gradually eat away at you. In the back of your mind, you know it's fake and that their unconditional love is too good to be true.